Every cycle, crypto's top 10 reshuffles. In 2017, Bitcoin Cash, IOTA and Dash were leading. By 2021, that leaderboard was completely flipped. Now it's 2025, and again, the top 10 have shuffled once more. Today, we're asking, can AI actually predict what the top 10 will look like in 2030? We'll check its track record from past cycles and reveal the speculative 2030 leaderboard, and then ask, what can we actually learn from how these lists evolve? So let's get into it. This video is for information and entertainment only. It reflects my personal opinions and is not financial advice. Check the description for more information. Always do your own research. Hey guys, I'm Alessandro. Welcome back to the show. Across the last 3 cycles, the top 10 have churned hard, but the survival rate has actually shifted up. 2013 to 2017, only Bitcoin and XRP held on, just 2 survivors. From 2017 to 2021, the carryover improved. Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and Cardano all stayed in. 4 survivors. And then from 2021 to 2022, so far, excluding stablecoins, we've seen 7 survivors. 7 are still in the top 10 that were in the top 10 in 2021. BTC, ETH, you've seen the list. But here's the catch. We're not looking at the peak of this cycle yet. And if history repeats, some of these names will likely be flushed out before the cycle ends. And if history repeats, some of these names that are currently in the top 10 are very likely to get flushed out. Anyway, Cardano is still clinging on to a top 10 spot. I have no idea how. It saw $13,000 in app revenue yesterday. I mean, it's crazy. The big takeaway is this. The longer something survives, the more likely it is to keep on surviving. Yes, that includes Cardano too. It's called the Lindy effect. And in crypto, Bitcoin is the ultimate textbook case. It's been in the top 10 since day one, and every extra cycle it survives only reinforces its staying power. So I tested it. What would AI have picked at the peak of each cycle? And not just the tokens, it also gave projected price ranges and market caps, which matters, right? Because just hitting a specific slot in the top 10 is one thing, but actually delivering on the multiples that are promised is actually another thing. Especially in a world where tokenomics can completely crush a token's price whilst its market cap continues to rise. Holders feel the price, not the headline cap. Of course. Back in 2013, AI leaned on Litecoin, Peercoin, Namecoin, all dead. And by 2017, only Bitcoin and XRP were still relevant. 2 out of 10 accuracy. In 2017, the bets shifted to the ICO darlings like NEO and IOTA and Dash, but the 2021 leaderboard turned to Solana, BNB and Doge. Again, poor accuracy, 4 out of 10. By 2021 to today, the model improved. Out of 10 tokens, it picked 6 that managed to stay in the top 10. BNB, Solana, XRP, Doge, plus obviously Bitcoin and ETH as well, so 6 out of 10. So across the cycles then, it went 2 in 2013, 4 in 2017, 6 in 2021, consistently improving model. That's because of the Lindy effect. The longer something can stay inside the top 10, the easier it is for the AI to predict that it might stay there in the future. In 2013, for example, almost everything vanished. By 2017, it was kind of the same story, but now more than half the leaderboard is carried through into 2025. It doesn't mean they'll all last. It actually doesn't mean that at all. History says most were going to get flushed, especially at the peak, but the survival rate is trending higher despite the fact most tokens are still underperforming. It makes the 2030 prediction worth examining though. Here is the 2030 leaderboard, top 10, as produced by AI. Now, important to remember, this omits stablecoins, right? Because there's no returns in stables, obviously. So Bitcoin is basically untouchable. ETH and Solana dominate the infrastructure bets, with TON actually sneaking in on the consumer side. Obviously, TON, enormous distribution, that could be a massive competitive advantage. Plus, like some new narratives, so Ondo for RWA, that's an interesting one as well. BitTensor for AI and Hyperliquid for perps, plus Celestia for modular infrastructure. Obviously, Bitcoin and ETH are probably going to be there. Like Solana, definitely, I think, good chance it should be there. The Ondo one is very interesting. Like, I would never have put Ondo in this list. So for the AI to pull Ondo into this definitely makes me quite interested. And I think I need to go and do a bunch more research into really how Ondo are going to be capturing a bunch of revenue from the tokenization of RWAs. Now, they're trading at quite a high FDV. I think it's like 9 or 10 billion. So is there much in that? I don't know, but it's definitely made me think about, okay, I probably need to really consider which RWA token I'm putting in my long-term portfolio. Of course, 𝗬, I mean, I like 𝗬. I hold 𝗬. 𝗬's something that I hold, so I kind of agree with this. And BNB, I mean, you can't really bet against CZ and Binance. There's arguments that Binance is worth $500 billion, give or take. It's one of the only alts that's held up cycle to cycle, bringing higher highs and been around for multiple cycles. I mean, just look at ETH. ETH is still not breaking past its previous all-time highs. The TON one as well is an interesting one, and I know actually Ran is really bullish on TON just because of their distribution that they have via Telegram. So an interesting one for the AI to put in as well. I like the fact that Hype's in here. You can see that actually the Hype's token price in here is pretty poor actually, considering it's already trading at like, you know, $60. A 3x in Hype over the next 5 years would be so upsetting. But this is when it would be fully diluted, right? So again, this is a good example of like tokens in their first cycle do very well and actually probably will never do that well again. It's like Hype has only got, you know, 35% of the tokens circulating right now. At this point, it will have 100% of those tokens circulating, so its market cap will actually be much, much higher. In fact, this is like a 10x on its market cap, but it's only a 3x on its token price. So this is a good example of why tokenomics are so important. I'm going to be doing some deeper dives into tokenomics actually in the future if you want to see those, because we're seeing buybacks as this super valuable mechanism, but no one's really considering the unlock schedules, the emission schedules of these tokens. If they have massive emissions, if they have massive unlocks, in actual fact, if you look at Athena right now, yes, it has a bunch of buying pressure, but it's actually not even offsetting a lot of the unlocks that are going and being distributed from the token anyway. So it's almost like a wash. So I thought this was a really cool experiment. However, the important thing to understand from this prediction model is that it's really Bitcoin that stays at the top, because it's the only coin that's consistently delivered cycle to cycle. The biggest risk I think I see people having in crypto is being under allocated to the one reason the industry exists in the first place, because they're trying to just outperform what is essentially the best performing asset of all time. The smartest minds in crypto who are asset managers in this space, they benchmark themselves against Bitcoin. Portfolios in crypto have to be benchmarked against Bitcoin. If they're not doing better than Bitcoin, there's a very good question to be asked. Why not just step back, dust your hands, and just hold the much safer, much lower stress token in the ecosystem that you almost can guarantee with a very high degree of probability is going to actually be there in the future. And not only be there, it's not going to be drowning under unlocks, and the token price isn't going to be crushed because VCs are continuously dumping it. But let me know what you think. Will Bitcoin still be #1 in 2030? And which, if any, of these alts in this list deserve to be in the list? Let me know in the comments. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have an excellent day, and I shall see you in the next one.